back at you today with another episode of the Criminal University. You know what I'm saying? If you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. We appreciate all the support, you know what I'm saying? Trying to keep everyone out the system, trying to keep y'all safe, you know what I'm saying? Educate y'all at the same time. Today's episode of the Criminal University is going to be about the Taxstone trial. And did Troy Ave snitch? You know what I mean? For all y'all that don't know, Taxstone is on trial for murder right now for an event that happened in 2016. Troy Ave and Taxstone had gotten into an altercation and someone had got killed in the process. A gentleman by the name of Banger got killed. Rest in peace to Banger. Now in the process, Troy Ave disarmed Taxstone. They got into a scuffle over the weapon. Taxstone shot Troy Ave and his man, and Troy Ave somehow or another wrestled the gun away, or he ended up with the possession of the gun in his hand, and Taxstone was in retreat. When Taxstone was running into the club, he already ran away. Troy Ave tried to shoot at him, and in the process ended up shooting two innocent people, one of which was a female. So he was trying to shoot at Taxstone, but in the process he shot two innocent people. He shot a female and he shot another gentleman. Okay? So after this, later on, Taxstone was charged with murder. Okay? That's where we are today. What people need to understand is that Troy Ave was never charged with murder. Troy Ave was charged with criminal possession of a weapon of 3 guns that were inside the van, his van. He was charged with reckless endangerment for firing into the crowd and shooting 2 innocent people. And he was charged with attempted murder for trying to shoot at Taxstone. Okay? Now, people that don't know, in New York, a gun by itself is a mandatory 3.5, and you can get up to 15 years. So that's between 3.5 to 15 years you could get for the weapons alone. Okay? And then with the reckless endangerment and the attempted murder, Troy Ave was facing 15 years. Okay? But for his testimony, the prosecutor and the DA said, we'll offer you 1 year for your testimony instead of 15 years for the attempted murder, the reckless endangerment, and the possession of the multiple weapons. Okay? Troy Ave was never charged with murder. This today is a murder trial for Taxstone. Taxstone is facing a murder charge. Okay? So they brought Troy Ave as their witness. And as the witness, he said what happened in the green room, because in this area there was no camera. This is a VIP area strictly for performers and VIP people, okay? So there's no cameras back there. So the only way that people can know what happens is if a witness comes and testifies. Now Troy Ave was that witness who came and testified and was essentially the camera in the room. So there's no doubt that Troy Ave is a snitch. He's 100% a snitch. He got on the stand in a murder trial where he wasn't being charged for murder as a witness for the prosecution. He was a witness for the prosecution. Taxstone is facing murder and he was a witness against him. Okay? And for his testimony, instead of 15 years, he's facing 1 year. You know? Now people need to remember, this is not the first time something like this happened. If we go back 15, 20 years, you remember that a situation very similar to this happened with Shine and Puffy and Jennifer Lopez. Alright? Inside the club, Puffy got into altercation, a screaming match. Shine fired the weapon inside the club and shot 2 innocent people, or 3 innocent people. And Shine ended up doing 10 years in prison for this. And this is a very similar situation, but instead in this situation, someone died. And Troy Ave still fired his weapon into a crowd of innocent people and shot 2 innocent people. And he picked up the weapons, and he had 2 other weapons of his own. So that's 3 weapons Troy Ave was being charged for. Initially with that, the reckless endangerment, and the attempted murder. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Sean got 10 years for the same thing and then got deported out of the country, and that was just for the one charge of assault. You know what I mean? Now, if you look at it, there's no way that you could say that Troy Ave didn't snitch, because Troy Ave didn't have to testify in this. What happened was, Troy Ave, once Taxstone dropped the weapon and he was in retreat, there was no more self-defense. There was no more self-defense at that point. Troy Ave picked up that weapon and tried to fire at Taxstone, but he fired into a crowd of hundreds, if not 1,000 people, and he shot 2 innocent people. He did not have to do that. Then, in his van on the way to the hospital, he had 2 other weapons that he could have got rid of, but he chose not to get rid of those weapons. So those are the 2 weapons he was charged with. Alright? So that's 2 things that he could have avoided altogether. He didn't have to shoot after Taxstone, and he could have got rid of those weapons. He wouldn't have been charged with anything. You know what I'm saying? But he chose to shoot after Taxstone in a crowd of hundreds of people, right? And he shot 2 innocent people instead. And then on his way to the hospital, he had 2 guns in the car that he got charged with. So he ain't get charged with the murder of Banga or anything. He got charged with his own actions for what he did. You know what I'm saying? And Troy Ave wants to get up there and talk about the streets are a myth and all this and that. Nah, bro, you a myth. The streets are as real as it get. You just wasn't prepared for it. You wasn't prepared for how real the streets actually were. You out here talking about the streets as a myth. Nah, the streets are as real as it get. And by you not being prepared, unfortunately, your man got killed. And that's sad to say. And now Taxstone is facing 20 years, 50 years, the rest of his life. And you get up there and testify for the prosecution to try to secure that for your own safety, because you ain't want to face your own actions. Those are your guns that you got charged with. You picked up the weapon when Taxstone dropped it and shot into the crowd and shot 2 innocent people. You did that. You know what I'm saying? That's what you were being charged with. And people need to get out of here and stop making excuses for Troy Ave and talking about all this shit that, he wasn't being charged with none of that. He was being charged with his own reckless actions. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people need to do, is you need to be prepared. In a time like that, if you really think you got beef, what's the point of having the guns in the car? If you really trying to get it popping, why don't you have the weapons on you? You know what I'm saying? You would have been prepared for what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, you wasn't prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people need to do. You know, people need to get out there and they need to be prepared when you go into a situation like that, where you might have an enemy, where you might have opposition, or you got the ops out there. You need to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of having the weapons if you can't get to them? You know what I'm saying? You're going to bring them and have them outside, but you're not going to have them ready when it's time to get it popping. Nah. When it's time to get popping, it's time to get cracking, you need to be prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's today's lesson. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're prepared. Whatever you do out there, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that you're prepared. Everything out there, you know what I'm saying? If you're not, one mistake, one wrong action, it could be your last action. You know what I'm saying? So for everyone out there, man, I want y'all to be safe out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Try to keep y'all safe, keep y'all out the system, man. If you like the content, make sure you comment, you heard? It's the Criminal University, man. You heard?